Thank you, Sevens. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today's Yu-Gi-Oh video is going to be my review of the latest episode, the final episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, episode 92, and this episode, I must say, for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Finale, was probably the biggest WTF finale that I've ever seen, which is fitting because Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens has probably been, and I know this is going to be controversial, some people loved it, some people hated it, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens was the biggest WTF Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime we've ever had. That being said, everybody, although Sevens sometimes was a crapshoot, sometimes it did things phenomenal, sometimes it did things kind of mediocre, sometimes I was like, really? This ending, this series finale, was hands down probably one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Finales we've ever had. During this finale, I honestly didn't know whether to cry, whether to just jaw hit the floor. I was really left speechless after it, and that doesn't really happen often with a series finale, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens managed to do it. The shortest Yu-Gi-Oh! Series we've ever had is now Sevens, and yeah, this whole thing was just... yeah, so anyway, I'm rambling and we'll talk about this soon enough. So at risk of further rambling, let's move on to the actual episode. So the episode begins with where we left off last week. We have Yuga and Rook having one last rush duel, and we get it old school. There's no holograms, no dual discs, it's just cards on the table. They're using their first starter decks. Really loved this part. It was really wholesome, and even though the atmosphere was tense and you knew what the stakes were, you still had fun watching it. You were rooting for these guys, and Yuga ultimately deceives Rook and ends up taking off after Otis, and leaves his ID card behind, and it's sad because we see Yuga take off and Rook's like, no, this won't be the last rush duel, this isn't goodbye, and there's going to be more and more and more rush duels after this, and you just know that Yuga's going to go and do something heroic, and we didn't expect was what was going to happen to Yuga. He confronts Otis and the duel resumes, and he is almost destroyed by Otis, and thinking that Otis is going to win. He confidently goes, I win, it's over. Yuga uses a trap card to save his life points, and he manages to get down to 100, and he gets an additional attack with this ultimate boss monster of his Sevengius, and this thing just annihilates Otis. However, it ultimately comes down to he was going to be disqualified because he got rid of his ID card. The duel didn't count. That's what they were trying to boast about, so Otis would win. And so Yuga actually ends up grabbing Otis's robot with the Rush Duel program robot, and these two end up flying at really high speeds into the moon, and these two just... they disintegrate because of the high temperatures, the high speeds. They can't take the stress. They're breaking up. Yeah, Yuga pretty much becomes a martyr, and we actually see the moon shed some tears, and that's commented on Earth as we see these sparks fall from the moon, and it's, of course, Otis and Yuga seemingly destroying one another. And this is where I was like, did that really just happen? Yuga's gone? Because normally Yu-Gi-Oh! In Yu-Gi-Oh! Series past, we've had characters say goodbye, but it really wasn't the ultimate goodbye because they did return. I mean, even a Tim returned eventually, and, you know, it wasn't really a death until I came along. That was really the first death that we got, and even then, that wasn't really a true death, so to speak. So I was like, did they really just do the unthinkable and kill off a main character right at the very end of it? And we end up getting a time skip after this. We see what happens years down the road. We still don't see Yuga. I'm like, oh my god, they really did it. They killed off the main character right at the end. And it ends up to be a total head fake, because after the time skip, we get introduced to all the characters again. They all come back. We see how they've been in this time lapse that has happened since the battle with Otis. And also, I got to point this out, Eugen is buff as fuck. Anyway, I just had to point that out because that was a Twitter thing. Um, yeah, so we see the time skip, and ultimately we end up getting the biggest head fake in Yu-Gi-Oh! When we see the head of the Rush Duel program coming back into the Earth's atmosphere with none other than Yuga at the helm. Rook, who's held on to Yuga's ID card since that day, the ID card turns back into Yuga's ID card as he's coming through, and you can see an older Yuga just kind of smiling in the background, and even his mom is going, "Welcome home," as he's coming back to Earth. And that's really where it leaves off. So, yeah, this series finale, like I said in the intro to the video, Sevens has been a crapshoot of an anime. They really did this finale right. This finale left me speechless. I really can't say anything because I went back before I watched this episode. When I saw that it had been released, I went back and I watched the last 2 weeks worth of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens just to kind of prepare myself for this. And watching all 3 of the episodes back to back to back, watching it in one succession, I can say that this is probably one of, if not my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series finales. And I didn't think I'd say that about Sevens. I really didn't, but it blew me out of the water. Not really. I know I'm rambling, but I just can't say enough good things about this series finale. It had a little bit of everything, and ultimately had one of the biggest head fakes in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, in my opinion. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's probably the biggest head fake we've ever had. That being said, everybody, as a finale overall, I give this finale for Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens a 10 out of 10. I really cannot find anything bad to say about it at all, which is shocking for Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Um, and I'm looking forward to the next series. Not gonna lie, Go Rush is going to be basically a continuation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, but in this time skip world. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is a first for us too. Well, I guess you really can't call it a first, but you get what I'm saying. It's not a first because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has done time skips before with the original trilogy, but this is the first time since the original trilogy that we're getting something like this. Super excited for it, and we're not going to have to wait long for it. That's awesome as well. Yeah, finale, 10 out of 10. Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens overall, might have to do a more in-depth discussion on this after I've had some time to digest it. But right now, I can give this ending 2 thumbs up. Looking forward to next week. And yeah, everybody, as always, those are my thoughts. And as always, I want to hear yours. So in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts were about this series finale. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What are your thoughts? Just let me know in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. All right, everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.